If you've been following the electric vehicle industry lately, you've probably noticed there's a lot of talk about vehicle-to-home and vehicle-to-grid systems. Some of the new electric vehicles have the ability to offload power, to either power small electrical devices or in some cases, entire homes during power outages. I have the Ford Home Integration Kit in my house where I can power my house with my Ford F-150 Lightning. Now, General Motors recently came out with their own system, but I haven't had the opportunity to really take a deep dive and check it out until recently. Just this week, I was invited to the GMC Sierra Denali's first drive event, where General Motors had their entire system set up in a house, fully functioning, so we could check it out, see how it works, and talk to some of their experts about the system. I was able to get Derek Sequeira, a GM energy expert, to give me a full deep dive into GM's offering. And that's what we're going to take a look at now, so let's get into it. So I'm here with Derek Sequeira of GM Energy. We're going to go over GM's vehicle-to-home system. I'm here at the Sierra EV First Drive event, but quite honestly, I've driven the vehicle already. I'm more interested in what we got going on in here. So Derek, why don't you give us a little lowdown of GM's system? You know I own a Ford F-150 Lightning, and I have Ford's Home Integration Kit. I can power my house with my Ford F-150 Lightning. Now GM vehicles can do that. So let's do a deep dive on what you have to offer.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks, Tom. We're here in the Peninsula in California, and it's a great spot to be talking about energy because there are challenges when it comes to energy outages when you look at states like California. We just spent time talking about the Sierra EV and how amazing a product it is on the road. Well, what if I told you that there's even more value to the Sierra EV right here at home in the garage? It's all about taking that stored power that's within the vehicle, sitting there on the driveway, and giving the customer the choice of how they want to use it, whether it's 460 miles on the road or using it to power your home. And that's where our GM Energy product ecosystem comes in. We have designed a product portfolio that takes advantage of the capabilities of the GMC Sierra EV and introduces the concept of bidirectional charging. With bidirectional charging, we can now not worry too much about how much energy we're putting in the car, but we can also find uses to take energy out of the car into the home. So it all starts with our PowerShift charger. Our very first bidirectional charger, capable of 19.2 kilowatts AC, the maximum AC power that the Sierra can charge with.
Okay, so let me stop you there real quickly. So it's an 80 amp bidirectional charger. 80 amps going out. I know it doesn't take 80 amps going in,
right.
But that's okay. We'll get into that later. Does the customer have to set it at 80 amps? Let's say in my house, I don't have the capacity to have a 100 amp circuit to deliver 80 amps to my house. Can I derate that to say 60 amps and just charge my Sierra at 48 amps?
Great question, Tom. That is the capability we built into the PowerShift charger. We want to have customers have the ability to derate the charger so it fits their home use. If you want to run it at 48 amps on a 60 amp breaker, because that's all you have in your panel, you can do that. You can even lower it down to 32 amps if you want.
And still get the full amount of power back.
Correct.
Okay.
So that is the beauty of our system. There's flexibility, and it works to help lower the total cost of ownership of the system.
Excellent. Okay, so that's the PowerShift charger. I see we have a couple other components here. There's actually 3 components, which is basically what I have with my Lightning system. So why don't we talk about what you have here? How do we make this thing work once you go beyond the charger?
I love the way you're talking about it. Modularity, because that's what we thought about when we built this system. The PowerShift charger is not bidirectional until you add the vehicle-to-home enablement bundle from GM Energy. This starts with our bidirectional inverter, taking the DC power from the battery, 9.6 kilowatts, and converting it into AC power usable in the home.
So let's stop there again. So energy is stored, electricity is stored in electric vehicles' batteries as in DC, direct current.
Right.
But your home runs on AC, alternating current. So you can't just pump it directly from the truck to the home. you wouldn't be able to, your appliances wouldn't run on it. So the inverter needs to invert it to change it from DC to AC. Okay, so that's why we need an inverter. Kind of like a solar system. Solar system produces DC electric, but when it comes down into your house, you need an inverter to convert it to usable electricity for the home.
Correct. Let's hold that thought on solar.
Okay.
So now you've got our home hub. Our home hub takes that AC power and it also isolates you from the grid in the event of an outage so that you know you're now running a microgrid within the home. Within the hub, you also have the ability to select which loads in your home you want to back up. Do you want to back up your whole home, or do you want to select certain loads in your home that are most important to you? Maybe it's your freezer, because that's where you've got all your expensive steaks, or your Wi-Fi router, because God knows you might get your kids going crazy when you lose the internet.
Yeah, well, I have a well, so my well pump would be on that for sure. I need water.
Yes.
The power outage. So you would make a sub panel to run the circuits, like from your main panel. Let's say you have a 200 amp main. You're not going to run all 200 amps on this. It maxes out at what, 9.6 kilowatts.
Correct.
So you'd create a small sub panel with your critical loads.
Yes, but there are also other options too. And one of the beauties of our system and the way we've built out this end-to-end customer experience is we are working with Qmerit as our preferred installer. And one of their professional electricians can work with you to decide what layout works best for you. Whether you want to do a whole home backup and maybe utilize this for all the loads, or to your point, utilize it like a sub panel where you can just select what you want.
So if you did like a whole home backup, you'd probably have to have some sort of load shedding device or something like that, because your home, you might overdraw 9.6 kilowatts if your central air goes on and refrigerators all kick on and stuff. The electricians can put on some sort of devices so you don't overload.
Absolutely. That's why you want to work with our preferred installer, so that you can have this conversation prior to installation and really select what makes sense for you in your home usage.
Okay. All right. So that's 3 of the 4 pieces. There's one more.
Yes.
It looks very familiar because I think it's almost exactly the same
That's right.
as what I have in my system.
You need some juice to keep the power running when the power's out.
Yeah.
So we've got our dark start battery, which is the last component of the vehicle to home enablement bundle. And what it does is it wakes up the inverter and the home hub for communication to get the system going to power your home.
As soon as the power goes out,
Yes.
you need some sort of power source to keep everything communicating with everything so it turns on.
Exactly.
And that's what the dark start battery does.
Correct.
Okay, very good. So what does this system here cost?
Yeah, so our PowerShift charger is an MSRP of $16.99. Right now we've got a $750 rebate, so it's effectively $950. Our vehicle to home enablement bundle is $5,600, and we've also got a rebate of $1,750 on this set. So, it's definitely affordable, comparable to whole home generation. And what we want to do is really show customers that you've already got the basic building blocks sitting in your driveway.
Yeah.
So why not go the next step to get that resiliency?
Well, I mean, the Sierra EV, for instance, like the Chevy Silverado, has an enormous battery pack, 200 kilowatt hours. So you could power your home for a very long time with that. But, there's also the chance that you may need to leave your house during the day. There's a power outage for a couple of weeks. When Hurricane Sandy hit New Jersey, we had no power for 13 days.
Yeah.
So I couldn't just leave my truck at the house all day. I need to go out and get stuff or whatever. You also are offering a solution for that, so that you'd have continuous power even if the truck can't stay at the house all day, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about that?
Let's do that.
Okay. Okay, so this big beautiful screen is blocking one of the units, but these look like big batteries.
Yeah.
Was that by design? You made them look like that too, but they didn't light up in sections.
Yeah, that would be neat.
So what are they?
Remember what I said about modularity?
Yeah.
So you could start with the charger, add an enablement kit, but then you can also add batteries to help you with that use case you just spoke of. What if I am in an outage, I need to go pick up my kids in my Sierra, I need to keep the juice going? Well, that's where the GM Energy PowerBank comes into play. Our stationary energy storage solution gives you that added comfort that you can go leave with your car. So what we have done is come up with a solution that gives you that modular choice. Available in two variants. We've got a 10.6 kilowatt hour option or a 17.7 kilowatt hour option. So 10.6 obviously would have less pieces in the
This is
stack
the larger
here.
one?
This is the 17.7 kilowatt hours.
It would be shorter, the 10.6.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you can also have a third combination by pairing two 17.7 kilowatt hours to give you 35.4 kilowatt hours. And that'll give you the juice that you need to do like a day in the house. Because, you look at average loads in the US, like the American home uses like 30 kilowatt hours a day.
Could you pair a third or fourth? Or
So right now we're only going to market with two.
Okay.
We just want to make some simple choices for the customer to give them what they need.
It also allows you to do energy arbitrage, both with the truck and this stationary. So let's talk about what that is for those that don't understand what energy arbitrage is.
So backup isn't the only use, I think, is what we're getting at. You can also utilize the batteries to help you avoid some of the peak costs that are out there. Like we're here in California. We know during certain times of the day, the energy prices are up there.
Yeah. In some states, let me just interject for a second, the electricity prices are pretty stable throughout the day. But that's not the case in all states. A lot of states have different prices depending on the time of day. You can pay 3 times as much or more during peak hours as you can during off hours. So what we could do with this here, and I'll let you explain it, is fill them up during low cost hours and then not use grid energy during high cost hours.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So that's the beauty of the system. You can toggle between modes from a backup mode to a time of use mode where you can take advantage of the energy that you've stored during cheap generation and distribution hours and consume it during those peak periods.
Right.
So it's a neat system that'll help you lower the overall total cost of ownership, but also lower your monthly bill.
And you can do that with the vehicles also, correct? You can, let's say you worked from home and your truck was parked at your house most of the time. You could, during the evening, fill up the battery with low cost electricity and then use it to power the house during the day?
These batteries you can. The vehicle, we've only got that in an outage mode, so it'll only do vehicle to home.
Currently, okay, I got you.
Yes.
I thought so I got you beat on that. I can do that with my Lightning. I had to get some advantage because, in a lot of regards, I look at GM's system as being the next generation of this. Ford was the first one to come out with their home integration kit, but I think you guys are taking it kind of to the next level.
Absolutely.
So, you had to give me at least one little point there.
Okay. But now I'm going to one up you.
Okay.
So now you've got stationary storage, but what if I told you can go completely off the grid by attaching it to solar?
Yeah.
So our system, with the introduction of the batteries, now gives you the ability to integrate with solar, whether it's existing AC solar panels you may have in your house, or you're doing a new DC solar installation. We've got the capability and flexibility in our inverter to be able to do that. So you now could technically have some energy independence.
How much power can the inverter handle? Like if, let's say I have a 15 kilowatt solar array.
Yes. I believe the peak in the inverter is around 11 kilowatts.
Which is pretty good. And in that case, let's say I have a 15 kilowatt solar array. Would you put 2 inverters in, or would you pair it with mine? Because I had that problem with my installation. And the Ford system, I had 2 inverters.
Yeah.
The Ford system eliminated one, and I kept my old inverter. So I have my old inverter, the Ford inverter. As it works, would you do that same way, or would you use 2 of your inverters?
Well, first of all, I would talk to my qualified solar professional to make sure it is the right solution for what you got set up. So there's options out there, right? Depending on how your home was set up to begin with, whether you had AC to begin with, or you're just doing direct.
But you could use this with any solar array, because I know there's different companies have different types of systems, and you should be able to make this work with any type of solar installation?
Yeah, so for AC, it's quite simple. No problem. DC, our inverter functions as a DC solar inverter.
Okay. And how about other stationary energy systems? Let's say I have a stationary energy system at my house, but I don't have all this. We all know that Tesla was kind of first to market with Powerwalls. There's tons of them out there.
Oh, yeah.
So people have Powerwalls. I know when I got my home integration kit, some of my followers said, Tom, I love this. I'm thinking about getting it, but I already have 2 Powerwalls. Can I hook it up? The answer was no initially, but it took about a year. And I think the Qmerit figured out a way to make it work. And I know there's some systems out there that have the system with the power walls connected. Will your system work with that currently?
For launch, we only focused on our products, right? We want to build that GM Energy ecosystem that, you've got that full end-to-end experience with the vehicle. I think that's where we're gonna work on now. Let's get a little velocity. Things evolve, but right now we're focused on really making this a super GM Energy experience.
Right, but I would urge people, if they do have other stationary energy storage systems that they already bought, Tesla, other brands, and you really want this system, to talk to your Qmerit installer that is going to install this, because they might say, yeah, we could make it work. I understand your angle. You want the whole ecosystem, but if somebody already invested $10, $12, $15,000 on stationary energy storage and they want your system, we should be able to make it work for them.
Yeah. And like you mentioned there, the key is everybody's got a different setup.
Yeah.
Make sure you work with a qualified installer like Qmerit.
Yeah, exactly. I would be shocked if they don't figure out a way to make it work at some point, because I know, like I said, when the Ford system launched, at first, no, they said we can't do this, but about a year later, they had them working, and they have some of them connected. So, but if you don't have a stationary energy storage from another brand, it would make sense to go with this. And also, you've got like a killer deal on this now, don't you? There's specials, and you can qualify for federal tax incentives and everything. So talk about the pricing.
Yeah, so our pricing starts at around $7,000 for the 10.6 kilowatt hour, and then jumps to a little over $10,000 for the 17.7 kilowatt hour. If you look at it in total, once you start including batteries into the whole ecosystem, you qualify for the federal rebate of 30% on the product plus the installation. So it becomes a really good value proposition overall. Yeah.
And if you get it all installed at once, you can get that on the whole system. You can get that 30%. Right. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. But okay, we went over everything. Now you got to prove that it works.
That's right. But hey, I also want to show you that it just doesn't end with the hardware. Okay. We've looked at the entire ecosystem and want to make sure that it's one seamless experience. So what we've done is not only created a great hardware ecosystem, but we've integrated it into software tools that our customers already know, like the My GMC app.
Okay, so you can control the system through the app.
Absolutely.
Well, let's take a look at it and do a demonstration. We'll kill the power and see how it works.
Let's do it.
Okay. State of Charge is powered by Qmerit. After I help you decide which electric vehicle charger you're going to buy, follow the link in the description of my videos and have the installation professionals at Qmerit install it. And by following the link, Qmerit will waive the $200 on-site inspection fee. But in order to have that fee waived, you have to follow the link in the description of my videos. Okay, so this looks similar to my GM app that I have for my Bolt and my Equinox. I mean, the screen is different, but the layout looks familiar.
Well, it's exactly the same. So let me show you that this is your My GMC app, and now you can select your home the same way you would select your GM vehicle. So not only can you control your vehicle, monitor your state of charge, but you can also monitor the energy usage in your home.
Okay, so here's the energy. It looks like the grid's providing us 5.3 kilowatts right now.
And then you're charging your GM Energy PowerBank, and you're consuming 3.5 kilowatts in the home. And this is a real home.
Right, so the home is using 3.5 kilowatts now, 1.5 kilowatts going into the GM Energy PowerBank to charge that battery.
Right.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and
the Sierra is plugged in, but it's not charging or anything at this point.
Right, we've got that Sierra full at 100%.
It's fully charged. So if it wasn't fully charged,
you would see a value there.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay.
So we've got all of this set up in the comfort of your My GMC app, which all of our customers are familiar with. Beyond that, you can also monitor the system status, whether everything's working, whether you've got any faults, or you're in a system outage. You've got your estimated backup power right now showing 2 days, 2 hours. What this is it's a calculation. So it's taking the state of charge available to you in your Sierra EV, the state of charge and value available in your power banks. Plus, it's also comparing it against historical usage in the home.
That's what I
so
was
it's a very
interested in.
it's a very
actually
dynamic
realistic,
calculation that will ebb and flow over time depending on what the situation is.
Okay.
You also have the ability within the app to toggle modes from your Sierra EV, the power bank, go back and forth between the backup mode and the time of use mode that we spoke of, monitor what's going on with your solar, the grid, and then you get into that historical data that I talked about. So you can take a look over time to see what the house has been consuming, what the battery has been doing. Yeah. So it's pretty cool stuff for those that want to geek out about the energy.
And it's useful because most people really have no idea how many kilowatt hour their house is consuming. Right. And this is like what we all have to get used to in the future as we're transitioning, whether everybody understands it or not. Like we're going to be transitioning to vehicle to grid, smart grids, and while everybody understood gallons for their car, people have to start better understanding kilowatts and kilowatt hour. So this, I love that you can do all this with this.
So that's the app, but I want to show you that this works.
Kill the power.
Let's kill the power.
And we're done.
Lights out. See, the actual screen went out too.
And everything's beeping because it's out.
So your power bank would have a green light showing that
that was about 5 seconds.
Yeah, was on. And the white light is now illuminated, showing you that you're running on battery backup power.
Okay, yep, I can see it on the battery over there, that's great.
Yeah.
So we're running on battery power, not Sierra power, because
correct.
When you have the system, you were saying earlier, that always gets precedent. Okay, so now the power bank is powering the house. Let's see what it's displaying.
So as you can see in your display, you've now got 3.5 kilowatts from the power bank.
Which is what the house was consuming before.
Right, it's flowing directly through the inverter into the home.
We had the green line coming from the grid before, now it's flowing from the power bank. Okay.
So there you go, you're running off stationary storage. But let's just say, back to that use case before, I had to go pick up the kids, and now I'm home. So let's switch over from the battery to the truck, because the truck's got more capacity.
Yeah,
right.
And let's say this is an extended outage.
Yeah.
Right? You're worried about, you want to keep those batteries for when you really need them, when the truck's not here.
Exactly.
You could run the house on the truck, and even when there's extended power, and I've lived through a bunch of power outages in New Jersey, there's always a charger available somewhere. Even if I got to drive 10 or 15 miles to it, you can go fill up the truck and then come back and run the house on that.
You take care of what's most important to you.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of want to save that for when the truck's not here, I would think.
Yeah.
If you think it's going to be an extended outage. Like I said, I've had 13 days in New Jersey with Sandy. I had 10 days 2 years after that where we had no power. Those real long extended power outages, I would want to save what I have in there. Although I have solar, so I'd be replenishing that. But not everybody also has the solar. If you have solar, you can probably live off just that and barely use the truck at all. But I mean, that's the whole triple play if you got that also.
Yeah, it all depends how deep you want to dip your toe into the energy wires.
And I assume that you guys have a solar partner if somebody wanted to do everything?
Yeah, so we've got a great referral program that we work with Sequeira on. So not only do they handle your installation, but they can also refer you to one of their qualified solar partners.
Okay. Well, listen, this was a great demonstration. I appreciate it. And I also want to give you guys props because one of the things I noticed was that GM was trying to taking a holistic approach to this. I visited the EV Live studio. I think you guys rebranded. I think it's something else
Energy
now.
Live now.
Energy
Yes.
Live. It was EV Live back with Haas Hassani. I interviewed him back about a year and a half ago where you guys were showing people, trying to educate people on charging and the equipment you guys have. And you've partnered with EVgo to install DC fast chargers. Yes. So it's not like you guys are GM's just making this system and saying, oh, here, look, we're offering this, which would be great in itself. But it appears as though you guys are really trying to understand, or you understand that the future is going to be connected homes, connected cars, vehicle to grid, vehicle to home, and you're building a foundation to have it all integrated. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think you nailed that. So our team at GM Energy is really focused on what can we do to spur EV adoption. What we want to do is take away all of those anxieties that are out there for the customer when it comes to charge, range, cost, by showing them that owning an electric vehicle is easy. We've got great solutions out there with charging products for the home. Most of your charging is going to be done right here in the home. But we've also got your back when you're out on the road as well, working with partners, bringing in chargers to your app so that you could see over 230,000 chargers available to you, but making strategic investments as well, working with EVgo to build out metro areas, partnering with Pilot Flying J to build out corridors so that you've got the comfort that you can make it from San Francisco to Los Angeles and not need to worry about your charge. But we've also got joint venture work with our Iona partners that will just ramp up public charging infrastructure across the US. We want to be a part of the solution. So for us, it's really taking away those anxieties and building out this product ecosystem that will get a customer comfortable with electric vehicles, but also show them that there's more value to it in an energy ecosystem as well. Yeah. So taking the energy stored in that truck and utilizing it in the home where I need it the most today. But in the future, maybe electric vehicles can be part of the solution to some of the outages that are due to generating capacity. So we want to work with utilities and talk to them to understand what the use cases are and really take advantage of those energy assets to their fullest.
And another thing that I noticed, GM isn't just offering the vehicle to home on like one vehicle or two vehicles. Mm-hmm. You currently have, I think it's 5 or 6 vehicles that are currently available that have the vehicle to home ability.
Yeah.
Blazer, Equinox, mm-hmm. Silverado, the Sierra, which we're here for, is launching right now. Lyric. And then soon you've got the Escalade IQ, yep. and also the Optique. Yeah, so that's 8 or 9 vehicles within a couple months you're going to have on the road that can all do this.
Yeah, we have said that we're going to get all of our Ultium-based vehicles off the factory line with vehicle-to-home technology by 2026. So mm-hmm. we're committed to making this technology available to a range of customers, right? Not just a single vehicle or a subset of every EV that we sell. We're excited about that.
Well, I'm also excited about the next generation Bolt. I bought the Equinox EV because it's kind of the most affordable long-range electric vehicle today. We're very happy with it so far, but I also own a Bolt EV. My dad drives that. I'm looking forward to the next generation Bolt EV. So that will have bi-directional capability also at such an affordable price.
We'll have more about future vehicles.
I tried to get him.
As we get closer,
slip up.
As we get closer to launch.
I thought we were friends. We've been here now talking for like 20 minutes. I mean, you give me a little nugget there that you're not giving anybody else, But he did say by 2026, we're hoping to get all of our vehicles with bi-directional capability. The next generation Bolt EV is going to have. Is going to launch. It's going to be a 2026 model. So I'm going to put the dots together, even though Derek won't admit to it. And I'm going to say that that's going to be an option, and I'm going to stick with that. And hopefully, maybe I'll even end up being a next generation Bolt owner. Maybe I'll sell the 2023 and get the new one when that comes out.
I don't know. I'm excited. We've got a product portfolio that is by far expansive for every customer that's out there. You take that and new options like energy management, and I think an electric vehicle is just a really smart decision for most customers. And what we're going to do is make it really easy for you to get into one.
It's just another reason to make the switch from combustion to electric vehicles. Having this capability, this is clearly the future. The question is, how quick are we going to get there? How quick are we going to have smart grids and 75% of the vehicles on the road having vehicle to home and vehicle to grid capability? It's probably going to take a few years, but that's just another reason why electric vehicles are simply better vehicles and why we're going to transition to them. It's not going to be the incentives. It's not going to be government telling us that these are better for you and that's why you need to get one. It's because they're better vehicles, and it's what I've been saying for the last 10 or 15 years, and I think more and more people are understanding that now. Listen, Derek, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. This was great. If you guys have any questions about that, please leave them in the comment section, and I'll answer what I can, and whatever I can't answer, I'll ping Derek and his team here. We'll try to get you the answers that you seek. And if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.